Ain't nobody's running. Ain't nobody's hiding. Nobody's ducking. I mean, Crawford's going to be right there, ready to trade blows with Canelo Alvarez. Why did you use that word war? Why are you feeling that way?
If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford.
Crawford could see everything coming. He could see everything coming that Canelo threw at him. He was reading it so well. His guard was so tight as well when he was up at the ropes, when he was exiting, looking to move around.
They looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance. And what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a big guy like that.
Stephen A. Smith reacted strongly to Canelo Alvarez's loss against Terence Crawford, explaining that Crawford had long pursued this fight to solidify his legacy. He noted that Crawford proved himself on the biggest stage by taking away Canelo's shine and becoming the champion, emphasizing that this was not just another victory, but a defining moment in his career.
Division world champion out of Omaha, Nebraska. He's undefeated, 41-0 with 31 KOs, and he begged for this fight. He wanted Canelo bad because to him it's all about legacy. I'm not speculating. I'm telling you what I know. And how would I know? It's because I interviewed him. Yesterday, we sat down. Here is my conversation with the one and only Terence Crawford challenging Saul Canelo Alvarez. Moving up 2 weight divisions.
Max Kellerman agreed that Crawford's performance was both historic and career-defining, offering a sharp breakdown of Canelo Alvarez's loss to Terence Crawford. He compared the challenge to moving up multiple weight classes and facing a dangerous opponent capable of dragging you into a true dogfight for the first time in your career. According to Kellerman, fighters with genuine confidence seek out tough opposition without worrying about size, speed, or power, and Crawford embodied that fearless mindset, reminding everyone that for years, no one openly called out Bud. In his view, Crawford proved his place among the sport's most respected by embracing that challenge.
Having to jump up two more weight classes and fight a guy who might put him in a dogfight, a real one, for the first time in his career.
When we get put in that position, we go find opposition to make that happen. You understand me? So when we go looking for the opposition, we're not concerned about how big they are, how fast they are, how strong they are. We feel like we got enough that we can bring to the table with anybody. That night I fought John Ruiz, I didn't care who was over there. Whoever they brought out that locker room was going to get it. You understand me? That's just what it was. And I think Bud kind of has that feeling. Now, Bud, you got to remember, has been around for a long time. Nobody called him out. You understand me? All the time Floyd came at the boxing, Floyd never said, I want Bud Crawford.
No one ever said his name.
Hey, all I know is one thing. Israel Mazarmov, he didn't get it.
Shakur Stevenson's admiration for Terence Crawford has always been evident. But after Crawford's emphatic win over Canelo Alvarez, his words carried even greater weight. Stevenson explained that Crawford not only delivered on everything he promised before the fight, but also demonstrated why he is held in such high regard. He admitted that from the earliest stages of his own career, he studied Crawford's style, mentality, and discipline, and watching his idol achieve such a historic feat reaffirmed his belief that greatness is built on years of preparation and consistency. For Stevenson, Crawford is not just a champion in the ring, but also a mentor figure who embodies the standard of excellence younger fighters aspire to reach.
He was going to outbox him. He did exactly what I called years ago. And tonight he proved that he's the greatest boxer that ever lived.
You know, in the interview with Dimwit, you said, you felt like going on a run watching that tonight. How much inspiration can you take from someone like Terence?
I take everything from him. I've been around him since I was a kid.
Stephen A. Smith reflected on Terence Crawford's determination leading into the Canelo fight, noting that while some fighters might have asked a superstar like Canelo to move down to a more comfortable weight class, Crawford insisted on stepping into Canelo's territory at 168 pounds. For Crawford, the challenge was never about convenience, it was about legacy. Smith reminded viewers that Canelo Alvarez remains one of the sport's most elite fighters, with a resume stacked with championships across multiple divisions, and Crawford's decision to pursue exactly what Canelo held at this weight class, without hesitation, revealed his relentless drive to claim greatness on the sport's most difficult stage.
1-0, Molly, with 31 knockouts. He's taken on all comers. I asked him, you're moving up in weight. Why would you not try to get Canelo to come down from 168 to 160 to meet you halfway, since Crawford's last fight was at 154? Crawford said, I want what he has. I want to go take it. I don't want to make, I don't want him making concessions and alterations. I'm coming to take what he has. And you look at him, and no one believes that he can't pull it off. He can box, he can punch, he's smart, he's elite, and he wants Canelo. He begged Canelo.
Oladipo highlighted the dramatic turnaround in public perception of Terence Crawford, noting that before the fight, critics dismiss him as too small, too old, and unfit to compete with a powerhouse like Canelo Alvarez at a higher weight. Yet after the fight, many of those same voices were quick to congratulate him, despite the doubts they had previously expressed. Oladipo emphasized that Crawford deserved every ounce of praise because he secured the win in the most difficult way possible. Moving up from smaller divisions to challenge a dominant figure like Canelo was no shortcut. It was a monumental risk. By beating Canelo decisively, Crawford proved he is not defined by size or age, but by skill and sheer determination.
A few hours ago against Canelo. And what makes it even special or more special for Crawford is that he did it jumping up, as we know, a couple of weight classes. He did it against one of an all-time or another fellow all-time great. And he did it against someone who was undisputed and still a pound-for-pound top 10 guy. That's what Crawford did, people. So, all those things people were saying in the lead up to this fight, Canelo's going to be too strong, Canelo's too experienced, Crawford's going to be 38, all that. You have to remember all of that when you give Crawford his flowers. Now, don't like, oh, well, Canelo looks old. No. Oh, I don't want to hear any of that. I've started to see a few people on Twitter start to kind of sort of find excuses already. No. Remember everything you said, because Crawford deserves all of that. All of that. Crawford was incredible. Honestly, in the pocket, he was at times showing Canelo, no, I'm stronger than you. I'm going to bully you. Oh, you think you're going to get me in the clinch because you're Mr. 168? No, look at the size of me. I'm jacked as well. I'm swole. And he was moving Canelo around. So by doing that, he got his respect. He didn't switch to orthodox once, stayed in the southpaw stance because he realized early, oh, Canelo don't like this. Canelo does not like this southpaw stance. Canelo's tripping over himself. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to switch it. No, I like this work. I'm going to stay here. On the ropes, it's like, okay, come in. Because when you come in, I've got that as well. And I can hurt you as well. Spinning off the ropes. His jab was fantastic. They put up the jab numbers. He was out jabbing Canelo. It was almost like 10-1. Maybe even 20-1. It was fantastic. And when he needed to land those power shots, he was landing those power shots. It was an incredible performance.
Concept Analyst offered an important perspective by rejecting the narrative that Canelo's loss could be explained as a decline of a fading champion. He pointed out that Crawford is actually older than Canelo, making age an invalid excuse for Alvarez's defeat. In addition, Canelo entered the ring with clear advantages in weight, power, and comfort in the division, yet he was still outclassed by Crawford. Wade argued that this victory was not about Canelo being past his prime, but about Crawford elevating himself to an entirely new level. By dismantling the excuses, he reinforced that Crawford's win was authentic, legitimate, and truly historic.
More fundamentally sound. While Canelo, even when he was able to get to range, which wasn't a lot, it wasn't often, he was having a hard time landing clean because everything was super wide and out here and to the body out there. And Crawford would either circle out to that same side, to Canelo's lead hand side. He would circle away because Canelo would step straight to Crawford and chase him and not necessarily cut him off. And even when he threw that hook, I was looking for the hook from Canelo, right hand as he stepped through, right? Corral with the lead hand, bang the right hand because you're fighting a southpaw. So, yeah, your jab may not be as effective in landing and managing distance and all those things, even though for Terence it kind of was. For Canelo, I was expecting a lot more of that right hand down the middle and over the top. And him jabbing his way, feint jab right hand, and then that lead hook that I thought he would be able to corral Crawford because Crawford did want to move away from Canelo. He did. He wanted to move away from that power hand. Smart to do. Canelo never took that extra step to step outside of Crawford's lead foot. Again, that orthodox southpaw matchup. It's always going to be a battle of that lead foot. He never took that next step to get outside of that lead foot and then step through Crawford, step to his left where Crawford was going and land his right hand. He just felt like he was falling off to his right with his right hand, and once he fell off to his right after he threw the right hand, there was no follow-ups because he was off balance and Crawford was out the gate. and circling back to reset the action. This was a masterful display from Terence Crawford. And again, I looked at this fight, and I don't want to do the thing where I said, oh, Canelo's washed. He's over the top. He's old. Terence Crawford's older than Canelo. Is he as weathered as far as fights are concerned? No. But you can only do one thing when talking about this fight, and that is give credit to Terence Crawford. If you want to say Canelo looked old, that's fine. That's on you.
World champion Carl Froch analyzed Crawford's tactical shift in the middle rounds, noting that after the 6th and 7th rounds, Crawford recognized the need to press forward and take greater control of the fight. His jab became the key weapon, disrupting Canelo's rhythm and forcing him onto the back foot. Froch praised Crawford's intelligence for knowing exactly when to adjust his approach, explaining that instead of allowing the fight to drift, Crawford sees a moment to impose himself more aggressively.
Punches on the back foot, sort of dictating the pace. And then after about round 6 or 7, Canelo Alvarez knew, 1 second. I need a little freshener. Canelo knew he had to step on the gas. He knew he had to put the fight on its front foot and take it to Terence Crawford and start to try and catch him and bang him on. And when he headbutted Crawford, I thought that could be the start of it. A little bit of a nut, get that down. Yeah, I don't know if there was a cut, but the referee stopped and had a look. And I thought, now Canelo's going to step on the gas. And he did that. He stepped on the gas, he started getting in close, and he started landing a few more shots than he was in the previous rounds, but it wasn't enough. Terence Crawford was able to catch and counter. He was landing a sneaky uppercut from the southpaw stance. He was dominating behind his jab, and then when Canelo stuck it on him, he was dominating up close in the pocket. He was beating him at his own game. Canelo Alvarez must have been fuming in there. He must have thought to himself, what can I do? He couldn't do anything. He needed to pick up the pace, put the pressure on, and sustain the attacks. And I don't want to take anything away from Terence Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez couldn't do that. He couldn't do it for long enough. Crawford looked like he could have done 20 rounds in there tonight at that pace, the way he was dictating and controlling. Canelo Alvarez was getting marked up, he was breathing heavy, he was getting tired, he was reaching with shots, and he was getting torn apart. It was an absolute masterclass by Terence Crawford. Canelo tried, Canelo came, he had a go, but to be honest, I don't want to rain on the parade of Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez, for me, is well past his best now. He's seen better days. He hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got the fitness to sustain the attack. Afterwards in the interview, he said, I felt great, it's great, I feel good. And don't forget, Crawford's a couple of years older. So I think it's the miles on the clock. Canelo Alvarez had like 67 fights. I know Crawford's had a fair few fights, but he's about 20 fights behind him. So the miles on the clock have caught up with Canelo Alvarez. He's feeling the pace.
Former world champion Carl Froch analyzed Crawford's tactical shift in the middle rounds, noting that after the 6th and 7th rounds, Crawford recognized the need to press forward and take greater control of the fight. His jab became the key weapon, disrupting Canelo's rhythm and forcing him onto the back foot. Froch praised Crawford's intelligence for knowing exactly when to adjust his approach, explaining that instead of allowing the fight to drift, Crawford sees a moment to impose himself more aggressively.
Left hook to try and cut this off. And when he did get his foot to the outside, that was an option. But over time, Crawford, as he always does, as the genius boxer that he is and is able to do, starts to find those counter punches. And there was 2 counters in particular that I noted during the fight that I felt were absolutely key for Crawford. First was the counter off that left hook to the body. Now, Canelo did land these sometimes. That left hook he throws, the lead left hook, is quite unpredictable. But he started to land it quite effectively to the body from time to time. But what Crawford was doing was he was catching it with his elbow, and then he'd throw the straight left hand back at Canelo as a counter shot. He'd throw multiple shots. And what I really loved about his counter work was he'd never throw more than singles or twos or threes. He never got carried away. He never did too much with Canelo. Don't get me wrong, though. Canelo was still defensively very astute in this fight, but he simply didn't have the foot speed to get to Crawford. He couldn't do it. And he didn't want to use his own jab because I believe Crawford's lead hand is so effective that southpaw stance really meant he could dominate the fight with his own lead hand. Canelo's not a massive jabber himself, but now that he was fighting someone closer to his size, I thought he might try and implement a jab, but he didn't because Crawford's counters were just too fast and too good. There was a couple of moments in this fight, and I said in my prediction I thought that you'd see Crawford in moments looking absolutely electric and just outclassing Canelo, looking too fast and lighting him up. And we saw that. I'll never forget the beginning of round 9 where he actually stood in the pocket with Canelo and he just rolled with the shots and he was throwing counters. It was absolutely brilliant. But the second counter that he used that was really effective was he'd allow Canelo to throw that single right hand, that straight right hand, that backhand for Canelo, make him miss and come back with his own straight left hand over the top. I also thought that Crawford stabbing to the body was very good. He'd throw straight shots to the body, and that was something I predicted from the Lara fight that he would be able to do. That was also where I got the idea with the exits that I felt would be useful. And the reason we knew they'd be useful and important was because of Saunders just not really dealing with them too well.
Another boxing analyst emphasized that Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez should be remembered as a masterclass in ring intelligence, describing his performance as nothing short of genius. He explained that Crawford appeared to anticipate nearly every punch Canelo threw, having clearly studied his habits and preparing the right counters before the shots even came. This foresight kept Crawford a step ahead from start to finish, forcing Canelo into a position where his offense looked limited and predictable. The analyst noted that while many fighters, even those with world-class skills, freeze under pressure of Canelo's heavy combinations, Crawford dismantled them with calm precision, never appearing rattled or overwhelmed. His success was not about brute strength, but about preparation, ring IQ, and strategic discipline, with each defensive move flowing seamlessly into sharp offense that kept Canelo off balance. According to the analyst, this was no upset born of luck, but the product of years of experience and meticulous planning, cementing Crawford as one of boxing's greatest tacticians.